A whole bunch of leftist activists, and you know the story's already good when it starts with whole bunch of leftist activists, are demanding the removal of the founder of Ruby on Rails, DHH. They're just saying, you got to leave. You got to get out of here, David Heinemeier Hansen, DHH. You got to be gone. They call him a racist. They call him a transphobe. They say that he has traits undesirable. What? And they're demanding that, check this out. This is fantastic. They're demanding that the Ruby on Rails community project, all of it, 1, cut ties with DHH and his work from this point forward. 2, hard fork Rails and associated projects to a new name and development free from his influence. And 3, adopt a modern code of conduct with suitable community governance. Okay. I have to stop you right there for a second. Because whoever crafted that 3-point bullet list of demands is friggin' retarded. Here's the problem. So let's put aside for a moment the ridiculous racist, transphobe, and traits undesirable thing that they're doing here. Okay, that's all stupid. Put it aside for a minute. The demands are dumb and render some of them pointless. Why do you need to worry about having Ruby on Rails cut ties with its founder if you're then going to fork the project entirely? Do you see how stupid that is? Just fork it. If you fork it, you don't need to cut ties with anyone because your new forked project is already forked. It's fine. Just fork it and do it. Go nuts. The adopting of the modern code of conduct. Now clearly they mean the contributor covenant code of conduct or something based on it. One of the anti-meritocracy, pro-Marxism code of conduct. You know that's what they're talking about because that's what they all are talking about. And when you look into the individuals who are promoting exactly this and who have signed this little open letter, that's what they're advocating for. Now they've also called this Plan Ver, right? Which is was a railway sabotage campaign with the French resistance during World War II. So this little ragtag group of Ruby on Rails people, and some of them aren't even like big contributors, some of them have only done like one contribution, right? Are demanding that the Ruby on Rails project kick out their founder, and they are likening themselves to the French resistance of World War II. Now, it's very obvious as you read through and listen to stories from so many of these leftist activist groups within open source and big tech that they're a bit delusional. But here we are hearing them say, you know what? They're basically like the French resistance during World War II. Okay, the level of delusion might be a bit high. One of the other things I want to point out is over the last couple of days, there have been a variety of news stories where people have been taken off the air. You may have heard the Jimmy Kimmel got taken off the air for like 2 days. That story, right? So Jimmy Kimmel with his late night TV show got temporarily suspended off the air. A number of the individuals who are taking part in this, let's kick the founder of Ruby on Rails project out completely. They were disgusted by Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air. They said it was obvious fascism and dictatorship from Trump, and it was just the worst thing. It was the end of the First Amendment, right? And then they go and make this little public letter of this Project Ver campaign where they said, quote, and this is not a joke, they really said this: "We do not want to restrict DHH's freedom of speech. He can write and say what he likes. However, free speech is not freedom from the consequences of that speech. And we as a community are completely free not to associate with people who hold views we find abhorrent," end quote. And what's amazing is I don't think they actually see how double standardy they're being, how hypocritical they're being. Or on one hand, if one of their guys loses some employment, well, then it's an attack on free speech. But if we do a big campaign to kick someone out of his project, oh, that's just consequences because he has abhorrent views. Got it. Totally understand what you're saying now there. Now, I posted that news up there over on X, and the response has been amazing, right? And I really do mean the response was amazing, and it's continuing to be amazing. There is a flood. If you go over on X right now and search for DHH and Ruby on Rails, and you just look up some of my posts there, you will find posts with 1,000 or more likes and hundreds of thousands of views, and literally thousands of people. How many quote tweets do I have on this? There's 318 quote tweets on just this one alone, and almost all of them are, oh my gosh, this is terrible. These people running this stupid campaign to kick out this guy from his own project are just awful. No, we stand with DHH. It's just over and over and over again that people are doing that, and it's not just you and me. It's not contributors and developers and open source users. Here we've got Toby Lutke, the CEO of Shopify. He chimed in on this one too. He quote tweeted that exact thing I just showed you, those screenshots I just showed you, and said this: "It is such a terrible mental tax on builders that divisive clowns just write in and spew these," I'm sorry for the swear words, this is what Tobias said, "spew these bull beep terms that they clearly don't understand themselves in bad faith. Ignore and keep building." Hell yeah. And that's the CEO of Shopify coming in and saying that. So what's amazing here, and he's not alone, man. We're seeing one person after another. We're seeing tech luminaries come in and come to the defense of DHH. We're seeing people going like, you know what, this is too far. What these people are doing is too far. And people are pointing out all of the past reporting from the Lunduke Journal primarily about open source communities and moderators and whatnot and leaders who are doing these exact same things over and over again, destroying projects. And people are waking up and they're going, holy crap. Sorry, pardon my French. Pardon my French. Toby Lutke, you're a bad influence on me. You got me to say a naughty word. But they're just going nuts about it, and it's great. It's great to see people like, no, I stand with DHH. These people are ridiculous, making such awful demands. Is DHH a racist and a transphobe? No. Does he hold these views? I don't think so. Does he have other traits undesirable? No. That sounds cool, but no. And it's just crazy. And multiple people have been diving into this. Here's Grums, who has been on the show in the past. He was one of the main managers for the original World of Warcraft. He also worked on StarCraft and other stuff. And he started looking into it and started noticing that a number of these individuals have made some pretty violent statements, right? They've made some pro-Antifa statements. They've made some statements in support of the murder of Charlie Kirk. They've called people Nazis, like calling DHH a Nazi. And he started noticing it. People who were signing this petition to kick out the founder of Ruby on Rails were like, man, these guys are saying, these guys are saying some pretty awful things. And he's right. He's really right. The more you look into it, the more you realize that there are consistent stances, publicly voiced stances that these people take, not just in this case of kicking David out of Ruby on Rails, but what we saw in NixOS, what we saw in OpenSUSE, what we saw in the Godot game engine, what we've seen in so many of these, what we saw at Red Hat, and on and on and on, where these organizations got infiltrated by leftist activists with a particular set of views. They expressed those views and then began to kick people out, to ban people, to conduct purges, and do exactly what we're seeing them try to do here with Ruby on Rails. And those viewpoints are being pro-Antifa, pro-trans, anti-Trump, often very pro-violence, which kind of goes hand in hand with the pro-Antifa stuff. And you'll also see a few other things mixed in here and there, like being, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine, a few other things here and there. But the consistent ones, pro-Antifa, pro-trans, anti-Trump, almost every time. I mean, it's consistent. It's not 100%, but we're talking like high 90s%. It's so incredibly consistent. You check out their bios, you check out their posts, check out their blog posts, check out the things they say in the forums over and over and over again. They express the same exact views, and then they turn around and they then express support for violence. They then call people Nazis and fascists. They say and they're not Nazis and fascists. The actual people that are getting called that are not Nazis and fascists. I get called a Nazi and a fascist every single friggin' day by these people. They're obsessed with it. But am I a Nazi and a fascist? No, I'm a capitalistic Jewish guy living in the United States of America, and I eat my steak medium rare. But doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter to them. They use those phrasings to mean that, yes, we got to attack these people. We got to kick them out of our projects. We got to hurt them physically. It's crazy. It's crazy that this is happening. A couple of random things I want to show you guys. So this guy, Jared White, this guy over in Oregon, he wrote a big blog post about all of this, about how the Ruby on Rails situation is bad and DHH is clearly a fascist and whatnot. He says that he also notes in his updated blog post that both Toby Lutke and DHS are retweeting posts by a far-right online agitator called the Lunduke Journal, who regularly attacks those in open source he deems to be Antifa and woke. And I just want to say kudos to you, Jared White, for using my name. You're going to get yelled at for using my name. In fact, he already has gotten yelled at. He's been criticized already because he used my name instead of saying something like "he who shall not be named," because you're not supposed to use my name. You're supposed to beat around the bush. But kudos to him for using the name there. All right. But there's been a response to this, right? Overwhelmingly, again, if you go look on X especially, it's just hundreds of statements of support for DHH, for non-woke normal people in software, for the Ladybird web browser who is experiencing some similar things, for myself, for others within the open source space who are just normal people, and the amount of support is overwhelming. It's huge, and so that's prompted a response from James Smith. Now, who is James Smith? James Smith is the guy who started this Project Ver. Let me bring it up over here. Project Ver, the open letter calling for a hard fork of Rails to remove DHH's influence, right? All right, so he posted over on Mastodon, because of course he has a Mastodon account, the following. Woken up to a few angry pull requests this morning over on the open letter he made. Looks like it's pissing off the right people given their comments. Nice thing about doing this on GitHub is that they're all out there in public. All right, great. So I went over to the GitHub page. I looked at the available pull requests, and I took stock of some things. And the first thing I want to point out is the astoundingly small number of people who have actually taken part in this, who have signed this letter. So there have been a grand total of 49 people who have contributed pull requests to sign this project. A significant number of them have been criticizing the project. I'm going to read the most extreme ones to you now because they've all been really polite and cordial. I mean, snarky, but polite. Here's one who his pull request was to delete everything and add in these lines. The days of socialist censorship and cancel culture are coming to an end. If you don't like someone, nobody obliges you to deal with them. Find another business, product, or framework. It's that easy. And while you're at it, it wouldn't hurt if you lowered your envy and resentment for other people's success. And here's another one. This other pull request was delete everything and add in just this last little line. This is what all of these were like, right? Several of the pull requests were just delete everything, and they're like, there, I made it more reasonable. Very snarky, but nothing profane, nothing violent, no threats, and of course, they can all just be ignored. Quote, oops, looks like we got a bit carried away with the pitchforks. We are retracting our call to derail the Rails community and apologize for any confusion. Turns out we just needed a coffee break and a quick chat to sort things out. This is what all of them were like. It's fantastic. So the responses were not rude. They were not mean. They were not vulgar. They were literally just people with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek snark politely disagreeing. That's all that happened. But of course, the guy who created the project says that people are pissed off. They're pissing off the right people, and they're angry pull requests, right? Which they really weren't. They were kind of snarky. They were more jokey than anything else. But then he made another statement. And I think this was interesting. So far, though, again, this is the guy that started this whole thing up. My experience has been that there are many more negative responses than positive, meaning more people are supporting DHH than are ready to get him out, right? Maybe the Ruby community wasn't the place I thought it was. Maybe Mini Swan was always alive. Mini Swan is, was it Mike is nice and so we are nice? It's like an acronym that they use over there. Something like that. It was always a lie. That makes me sad. Teardrop emoji. I'm sorry, that's funny. So DHH responded to that one. He responded a couple other times as well, but I want to read this one. This dumb letter that was never going to go anywhere hasn't even gathered 50 signatories. Who in their right mind would also sign such an obvious "don't hire me ever" self-declaration? And that is actually a pretty good, reasonable thing to say. People are going out there. If you want to have a job in the Ruby on Rails world, which is a lot, I mean, because Ruby on Rails is all over the place. If you want to have a job in that world, to sign an official letter kicking out the founder of Ruby on Rails, where half the internet just started dogging on you in support of the people you wanted to get kicked out and basically said, you know what, you're a buffoon for even trying this. That doesn't bode well. That's coming up during the interview process. I don't know why someone would do that to themselves. It's absolutely asinine. So this is ongoing, but there has been, let me bring back this Toby Lunduke tweet here for a second, because there's been some good to come out of this. There's been so much anger and vitriol and hate and attacks against people for being anything other than leftist extremist activists within open source. And it's been going on for so long that it can kind of get you down. It's destroyed so many projects. I mean, so many projects. I mean, NixOS and OpenSUSE and so many others have just been ransacked by these people. That it's easy to get disheartened by it all. Because look at all the damage that they're doing to projects that are interesting, that have technical merit. Even if I don't use them, they're still technically interesting. They have real users. They have businesses that rely on them. They have people who contribute to them and work on them for years. And this is how they get treated by these leftist activists. It's hard to watch. But something seems to have happened over the last 24 hours where we're not only seeing a massive flood of people coming out and just proudly saying, look, we're normal people and we're done with this garbage. But we're seeing CEOs of major corporations chiming in with the exact same sentiment, like the CEO of Shopify here. It is amazing to see. And I think we're going to see more of it as time goes on. And that's just wonderful. We have a long way to go. There are so many problems relating to this whole topic and open source and big tech, the whole computer industry, that we would be here all day if we listed them all. I mean, shoot, it's not safe for me and leaders, significant leaders of other open source projects to even go to tech conferences right now. It's not safe. The death threats come fast and furious, and they're legit death threats. And we see people being shot because of having the same sorts of views. It is just simply not safe. The amount of problems that we have is innumerable. But what we're finally seeing is huge numbers of people coming out and saying, no more. We're done with this garbage. This is a bit of a turning point. I want to say thank you to all the Lunduke Journal subscribers who have kept the Lunduke Journal on the air. As we've been covering all of these topics for the last several years, it's been interesting. And we've got a lot more to go. We've got more to go just this week. It's absolutely crazy and wild. But thank you for all of you who support the Lunduke Journal and keep us on the air. If you go to lunduke.com, there's where you're to read and listen and watch all the shows, all the content, all the publications that I put out there on a ton of different platforms, and all for free, because this stuff needs to get out there. Feel free to share it. Share it with everybody. It's all free. And if you want to support the Lunduke Journal, scroll down on that same page on lunduke.com. There's a bunch of ways that you can subscribe. And at the very bottom of that page, you'll notice a little perks for subscriber link that shows you where you can grab PDF ebooks, games, forum access, all sorts of different stuff. We're also starting later this week. We're going to be adding in at the very, very end of all Lunduke Journal shows. Oh, wait a minute. Do I mean this one right here, where we're going to be adding in all lifetime subscribers who want to be credited at the very end of the shows? I've got a whole bunch more to add. If you want to be credited, look at my text. It's all cattywampus right now. It's all cattywampus. If you want to be credited, go to lunduke.com and check out the perks for subscribers. I'll send out an email reminding everyone how to do this later this week as well. I've got a whole bunch to add. I'm only adding in people who want to be credited, because I recognize, shoot, you may not want to have your name out there associated with supporting the Lunduke Journal. That may cause problems in the communities you work within, your job, your projects you work within, etc., because you may work with a lot of the people that we cover here at the Lunduke Journal. So I get that. I'm not making any assumptions. I don't add anyone's name into any public list unless you specifically say, yeah, you know what, add me in there. Another thing that I want to point out is if you want the Lunduke Journal to follow you and you're a lifetime subscriber, you can also contact me as well. Again, I'll send out emails every so often reminding you guys on how to do that. And that's kind of nice, because if I follow your account on X, it makes it more likely that I get to actually see the things that you write. So it makes it easier for us to have a conversation that way. And it makes it easier for you to call things to my attention, because my private DMs on X are flooded. But if I follow you, I'm much more likely to see them, right? It pops up to the top. It's kind of filtered all out. I'm much more likely to see them. It's just great. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, thank you to everyone who subscribes. You make this possible. Boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes, across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.